Have you ever wondered if a single penny hiding in an old jar could be worth more than a brand new luxury home? Before you spend another 1962 Lincoln penny, you need to hear this because one tiny detail could make all the difference. Most people believe every old penny is worth just 1 cent. That's exactly why valuable coins keep slipping through people's fingers every single day. In this video, you're going to discover why collectors still search for the 1962 Lincoln penny, what rare features separate ordinary coins from extraordinary ones, and why a handful of exceptional examples have stunned the coin collecting world with astonishing prices. At first glance, the 1962 Lincoln cent looks completely ordinary. It was struck at the Denver Mint, which is why you'll find the small D mint mark below the date. Millions upon millions were produced, making it seem impossible that any could ever become valuable. But here's where things start getting interesting. Most of these pennies entered circulation immediately. They bought candy, newspapers, gasoline, and groceries. They passed through countless hands for decades. They were scratched, worn down, and forgotten. Yet a tiny number escaped that fate. Imagine someone putting away a fresh roll of pennies in 1962 and never touching it again. Decades later, those untouched coins could still look almost exactly as they did on the day they left the mint. That's where collectors begin paying attention. But don't get too excited just yet. This is where many people get confused. Not every shiny 1962 penny is valuable. In fact, most are still worth only a few cents. Condition changes everything. Professional grading companies examine every tiny detail. They study the coin's original mint luster, the sharpness of Lincoln's portrait, the strength of every letter, and even the smallest contact marks. Two pennies struck on the same day can end up with dramatically different values simply because one remained nearly perfect while the other collected tiny scratches over time. Now here's something many people overlook. Look closely at the color. Collectors usually classify copper Lincoln cents into 3 categories: brown, red-brown, and red. A full red coin retains nearly all of its original bright copper color. Those are much harder to find after more than 60 years because copper naturally darkens with age. That bright red appearance can make a tremendous difference when experts determine value. But color alone isn't enough. Here's another hidden detail. Strike quality matters. Although the Denver Mint produced huge numbers of pennies in 1962, not every coin was struck with equal pressure. Some show soft lettering or weak details in Lincoln's hair and beard. Others display crisp, razor-sharp features that immediately stand out to experienced collectors. Collectors always chase the very best examples. And that's exactly why top-grade coins become so competitive. Now let me ask you something. If you found a jar filled with old pennies today, would you know which one deserves a closer look? Most people wouldn't. They'd spend it without a second thought. That's why valuable coins continue disappearing into circulation. Here's another fascinating fact. The 1962 Lincoln cent is made primarily of copper with a small amount of tin and zinc. That classic bronze composition gives these coins a rich appearance that collectors have admired for generations. Unlike modern zinc cents, these earlier bronze coins often attract collectors simply because they represent a different era of American coinage. But wait. There's another twist. Sometimes unusual minting mistakes can dramatically increase collector interest. Coins struck with noticeable off-center designs, dramatic die cracks, die breaks, clipped planchets, broad strikes, or other genuine mint errors often attract much stronger demand than ordinary examples. However, it's important to understand something very important. Not every strange-looking coin is a valuable error. Damage that happens after a coin leaves the mint, like being squeezed, hammered, drilled, polished, or altered, usually doesn't increase value at all. That's a mistake thousands of people make. They mistake damage for rarity. Professional authentication is often the only way to know the difference. Now let's talk about grading. Imagine placing 10 identical-looking 1962 pennies on a table. To an average person, they all seem the same. To an experienced collector, every single one tells a different story. One may have microscopic scratches. Another may have weak strike details. One may have lost much of its original color. Another may display nearly flawless surfaces. Those tiny differences can create enormous differences in collector demand. Here's where the suspense really builds. You may have heard dramatic stories online claiming a 1962 Lincoln penny is worth millions of dollars. Those headlines certainly grab attention. But the truth is more interesting and far more realistic. There is no verified public sale showing an ordinary 1962 D Lincoln cent selling for millions of dollars. Instead, the highest prices are generally achieved by exceptionally preserved, professionally graded examples with outstanding quality, or by coins featuring significant, genuine mint errors that are extremely rare. That's why collectors emphasize condition above almost everything else. The better the preservation, the stronger the potential collector value. Think about professional sports cards. Most are common. But the finest known examples become auction stars because they're incredibly difficult to match. Coins work exactly the same way. Population reports from grading companies often reveal that only a tiny number of coins survive in the absolute highest certified grades. Scarcity at the top creates fierce competition. And fierce competition creates impressive auction prices. Here's another surprising detail. Many collectors actually enjoy searching through ordinary coin rolls from banks. Why? Because discoveries still happen. Every once in a while, someone finds an overlooked high-grade coin sitting unnoticed among everyday change. Those moments keep the hobby exciting. Could it happen often? No. Can it happen? Absolutely. Now imagine finding an old family coin collection. Inside are dozens of Lincoln cents collected by a grandparent decades ago. Instead of rushing to sell everything, taking time to organize the coins by year, mint mark, condition, and possible varieties could reveal pieces deserving closer examination. Patience often pays off. Rushing usually doesn't. Here's another mistake that can cost real money. Cleaning old coins. It sounds logical. A shiny coin should be worth more, right? Actually, the opposite is usually true. Cleaning often leaves tiny hairline scratches that permanently reduce collector appeal. Professional buyers can usually recognize cleaned coins almost immediately. Even gentle polishing can significantly lower value. So if you think you've found something special, resist the urge to make it sparkle. Leave it exactly as you found it. Now let's finally talk numbers. An ordinary circulated 1962 D Lincoln penny usually carries only modest value beyond face value. Nice uncirculated examples can bring stronger prices depending on quality. Exceptional certified mint state examples, especially those with vibrant original red color, have sold for hundreds and even thousands of dollars in the strongest grades. Rare authenticated mint errors may command substantially higher prices depending on the specific error, rarity, eye appeal, and collector demand. Those remarkable sales are exactly why experienced collectors inspect every detail before dismissing an old penny. Because the difference between common and valuable isn't always obvious. Sometimes it's hidden beneath a tiny detail that most people never notice. And that's what makes coin collecting so addictive. Every penny becomes a mystery waiting to be solved. Every old coin carries a story. Every date has its own surprises. Every collection holds the possibility of an unexpected discovery. So before you empty that change jar into a coin counting machine, take a few extra minutes. Look for the date. Find the mint mark. Check the color. Study the strike. Watch for genuine mint errors. Protect promising coins from scratches. And if something truly stands out, consider having it evaluated by a reputable professional grading service. You never know what history might be sitting quietly in your pocket. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever found an old Lincoln penny that looked different from the rest? Maybe you inherited a collection from a family member, or perhaps you've spotted a strange-looking coin in your change. Share your discovery in the comments because your story might help another collector recognize something valuable. And remember, some of the most exciting discoveries don't happen at expensive auctions. They happen in kitchen drawers, forgotten jars, old piggy banks, estate collections, and pocket change that almost everyone else ignores. So keep your eyes open, keep checking every penny, and keep learning. Because the next coin that catches your attention might not change your life overnight, but it could become one of the most fascinating discoveries you've ever made. If you enjoy uncovering hidden treasures hiding in everyday pocket change, subscribe and join us for more incredible coin stories, surprising values, and collecting secrets that could help you spot the next overlooked rarity before everyone else does. Have you been carrying a 1-cent coin that's secretly worth a fortune? Most people spend a 1979 Lincoln penny without a second thought, But one tiny detail could turn an ordinary-looking coin into something collectors would fight to own. Before you toss your pocket change into a jar, you need to see this. Imagine finding a coin you've had for years, only to discover it might be worth hundreds, thousands, or in extremely rare situations, even more. That sounds unbelievable, but stories like this have happened before. Today we're diving into one of America's most talked about coins, the 1979 Abraham Lincoln penny with the D mint mark. We'll separate fact from fiction, reveal what really makes certain examples valuable, and show you exactly what to look for before you spend another cent. At first glance, every 1979 D Lincoln penny looks almost identical. Abraham Lincoln faces to the right, the date sits beside him, and just below the year you'll see a tiny D, meaning the coin was struck at the Denver Mint. Millions upon millions of these pennies were produced. In fact, most are worth only 1 cent today. But here's where everything changes. Not every coin leaves the mint exactly as intended. Tiny mistakes during production, unusual metal compositions, striking errors, and exceptional preservation can transform an ordinary penny into something collectors desperately want. That's why experienced collectors never judge a coin by its date alone. Think about this for a second. How many old pennies are sitting inside coffee cans, dresser drawers, piggy banks, or forgotten jars across America? Most people have no idea what they're holding. They see copper-colored coins and assume they're all the same. That's exactly why valuable coins continue to be discovered. Now let's talk about the first thing that separates a common 1979 D penny from one worth serious money. Condition. This is where many people get confused. Just because a coin is old doesn't automatically make it valuable. A heavily worn penny that has been passed from hand to hand for decades is usually worth very little. But a coin that somehow escaped circulation, keeping its original mint luster and sharp details, can be dramatically more desirable. Professional grading companies use a numerical grading scale from 1 to 70. The closer a coin gets to mint state 67, 68, or higher, the more collectors compete for it. Now here's something surprising. A difference so small that most people would never notice can mean the difference between a coin worth a few cents and one worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Take a close look at Lincoln's cheek. Look at the hair above his ear. Examine the wheat-free reverse with the Lincoln Memorial. Are the steps sharp? Are the columns crisp? Does the coin still flash with bright original mint shine? Those details matter far more than most beginners realize. But condition isn't the only secret. Errors are where things become truly exciting. Imagine 2 giant metal dies striking thousands of coins every hour. Under enormous pressure, mistakes occasionally happen. Sometimes a coin is struck off-center. Sometimes the die cracks. Sometimes grease blocks part of the design. Other times the planchet itself has a problem before the coin is even struck. Most errors are minor. A few become legendary. Collectors pay impressive premiums for dramatic mint errors because they're accidental, unusual, and difficult to find. So what kinds of errors should you watch for on a 1979 D penny? Look for off-center strikes where part of the design is missing. Watch for broad strikes. Keep an eye out for die cracks running across the coin. Search carefully for doubled letters or numbers that appear clearly separated rather than simply blurry. Examine the rim for unusual striking problems. And don't ignore strange colors or surfaces that look different from normal examples. Here's another mistake many people make. They immediately clean the coin. Never do that. Cleaning may seem like a smart idea because shiny coins look attractive, but collectors almost always prefer original surfaces. Even gentle polishing can leave microscopic scratches that permanently reduce a coin's value. That one decision could cost hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Now let's answer the question everyone has been waiting for. Can a 1979 D Lincoln penny really be worth $1 million? Here's the truth. A normal 1979 D penny is not worth anywhere near $1 million. Most examples remain worth face value, while attractive uncirculated coins or genuine error varieties can be worth significantly more depending on rarity, condition, and collector demand. However, extraordinary coins sometimes achieve astonishing prices because they're unique combinations of exceptional preservation, rare mint errors, or one-of-a-kind characteristics confirmed by professional authentication. Those are the coins that make headlines and inspire millions of people to search through their spare change. That's why sensational claims about million-dollar pennies should always be viewed with caution unless supported by documented auction results and expert certification. But don't stop watching, because there's another detail that many collectors overlook. Color. Lincoln cents are often classified as brown, red-brown, or red. An original red coin that has retained its fresh mint color for decades is much scarcer than one that's turned completely brown through oxidation. In the highest certified grades, original red examples often command much stronger prices than similar coins with darker surfaces. That tiny difference in color could make an enormous difference when collectors begin bidding. Now imagine opening an old family coin collection inherited from your grandparents. Most people focus on silver dollars or old quarters. Meanwhile, the humble penny gets ignored. Ironically, that's sometimes where the biggest surprises are hiding. Experienced collectors know that patience wins. They examine every date, every mint mark, every letter, every number. Because valuable discoveries rarely announce themselves. Here's another fascinating fact. The Denver Mint produced billions of Lincoln cents over the years, yet finding one with extraordinary eye appeal, pristine surfaces, and an unusual mint error remains genuinely difficult. The overwhelming majority entered circulation immediately, picking up scratches, dents, stains, and wear along the way. That's why untouched examples become increasingly desirable. Now ask yourself this. When was the last time you actually inspected the pennies sitting around your house? Not glanced at them, actually inspected them. Most people never have. And that's exactly why exciting discoveries continue to happen. Let's imagine two collectors. The first dumps every penny into a Coinstar machine without looking. The second spends just a few minutes checking dates, mint marks, condition, and unusual features. Who has the better chance of finding something valuable? The answer is obvious. Knowledge creates opportunity. Another pattern that surprises beginners involves storage. Coins tossed into jars bang against each other year after year, creating tiny marks that reduce their grade. Serious collectors often protect promising coins immediately using holders designed to prevent unnecessary damage. Sometimes protecting a coin is just as important as finding it. Now here's something many viewers don't realize. Professional authentication can completely change how buyers view a coin. A certified coin gives collectors confidence that the piece has been examined for authenticity, grade, and important characteristics. That confidence often attracts stronger interest than an uncertified example. So if you genuinely believe you've discovered an unusual 1979 D Lincoln penny with exceptional condition or a dramatic mint error, having it evaluated by a respected grading service may be worth considering. Before you celebrate, though, stay realistic. The internet is full of exaggerated stories, edited headlines, and misleading videos claiming every old penny is worth a fortune. That's simply not true. Real collecting is about identifying the rare exceptions. And those exceptions are exactly what make this hobby so exciting. Some people search for years before finding an exceptional coin. Others make an incredible discovery in their very first handful of pocket change. You never know which day could be your lucky day. So tonight, before you ignore that cup of loose change on your kitchen counter, take another look. Find every 1979 Lincoln penny. Check for the D mint mark. Inspect the surfaces carefully. Look for unusual errors. Study the color. Pay attention to the condition, because the next coin you examine could be far more interesting than you ever imagined. Now I'm curious. Have you ever found a rare coin hiding in your pocket change? Or are you about to search your collection after watching this? Let everyone know in the comments, because your discovery might inspire someone else to check theirs. And if you enjoy uncovering hidden treasures that could be sitting unnoticed in everyday change, make sure you subscribe and come back for the next video. You never know which ordinary-looking coin could turn out to be the most extraordinary one in your collection. A single penny could be hiding in your pocket right now. And if you overlook one tiny detail, you might accidentally spend a coin that serious collectors would gladly pay thousands of dollars for. The 1989 Abraham Lincoln penny with no mint mark has surprised collectors before. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what separates an ordinary 1-cent coin from an extraordinary discovery. Most people never look twice at a 1989 penny. They see 1 cent and move on. But experienced collectors know something the average person doesn't. Sometimes it's not the date alone that matters. It's the tiny details, the condition, and the rare mistakes made during the minting process that can transform an everyday coin into something truly special. So before you empty that coin jar or spend the change in your wallet, take a closer look. The penny you own today could be far more interesting than you ever imagined. Let's start with the first thing that confuses almost everyone. Your 1989 penny might not have a mint mark. Many people immediately think that means it's rare. Not exactly. A 1989 Lincoln penny without a mint mark was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. During that year, Philadelphia cents normally did not carry a mint mark. Millions and millions were produced, so simply missing the letter isn't enough to make the coin valuable. But here's where the story gets exciting. Some 1989 no-mint mark pennies stand out because of their condition. Others become valuable because of dramatic mint errors. And a very small number have characteristics that make collectors compete fiercely whenever they appear for sale. Imagine opening an old coffee can full of pennies collected by your grandparents. Most would be worth face value. But one coin catches your eye. The surfaces look unusually bright. The details are razor sharp. Lincoln's hair looks crisp, the lettering is bold, and the coin appears almost untouched after decades. That moment is exactly why collectors search through thousands of pennies every year. Now here's something many people don't realize. Condition is everything. A circulated 1989 penny with scratches, discoloration, or heavy wear usually carries little premium. But a coin that somehow escaped circulation for more than 3 decades can be dramatically different. Professional grading services carefully examine coins under magnification. They assign numerical grades based on preservation. The closer a coin gets to the highest possible grades, the more desirable it becomes. And this is where prices begin climbing. Collectors often compete aggressively for superb examples because finding flawless coins is much harder than finding ordinary ones. But don't stop there. The real excitement begins when mint errors enter the picture. During the minting process, billions of coins are produced under tremendous pressure and incredible speed. Every once in a while, something unexpected happens. Maybe the dies shift slightly. Maybe the strike is off-center. Maybe a die develops cracks. Maybe grease fills part of the design. Or perhaps the planchet itself has a problem before it's ever struck. These manufacturing mistakes create unique coins that collectors love. One of the most eye-catching errors is the off-center strike. Instead of Lincoln appearing perfectly centered, part of the design is missing because the blank wasn't positioned correctly when struck. The more dramatic the off-center error while still showing the date, the greater the collector interest tends to be. Another fascinating variety involves doubled details. Under magnification, parts of the lettering or date may appear doubled because of die issues. True doubled varieties can attract significant attention, although many forms of machine doubling are much less valuable. That's why careful examination matters. Here's another surprise. Some collectors search specifically for die cracks and die breaks. These occur as minting dies wear down over time. Raised lines or unusual features may appear on the finished coin, creating collectible varieties. Now imagine discovering one of these while sorting through spare change during a quiet afternoon. It sounds unbelievable, but that's exactly how many interesting coins have been found over the years. Here's something else many people overlook. Color. Copper-plated zinc cents are generally classified into 3 color categories by grading companies: brown, red-brown, and red. Coins that retain their original bright red mint color decades after production are much scarcer than heavily toned examples. That vibrant original color often makes a tremendous difference when collectors compete for top-quality pieces. Now let's talk about one mistake that costs people money every single day: cleaning. Someone finds an old-looking penny and decides to polish it until it shines. Unfortunately, that can permanently damage the surface. Professional collectors usually prefer natural, original surfaces. Cleaning often leaves tiny scratches that grading services easily detect. A cleaned coin may lose much of its collector appeal. So if you think you've found something special, resist the temptation to make it sparkle. Leave it exactly as it is. Another mistake is assuming every internet claim is accurate. You may have seen headlines saying a 1989 no-mint mark penny is worth $1 million. Those headlines grab attention, But the reality is more complicated. There is no evidence that an ordinary 1989 no-mint mark Lincoln cent is automatically worth millions of dollars simply because it lacks a mint mark. Extraordinary prices are typically associated with exceptionally rare mint errors, elite certified condition, or unique characteristics that make a coin stand apart from billions of others. That's why research is so important. Now imagine finding a penny that looks completely normal. You almost ignore it. Then you notice an unusual strike. The lettering seems different. The surfaces look nearly perfect. Instead of spending 1 cent, you decide to have it examined. That simple decision could make all the difference. Professional authentication helps determine whether a coin is genuine, altered, damaged, or truly special. Many valuable discoveries begin with nothing more than curiosity. Now let's build toward the question everyone has been waiting for. How much can a 1989 no-mint mark Lincoln penny actually be worth? For heavily circulated examples, the answer is usually just 1 cent. Coins in lightly circulated condition may bring modest premiums if collectors need them for albums. Beautiful uncirculated examples with strong eye appeal can sell for considerably more, especially when professionally graded at high mint state levels. Exceptional certified examples at the very highest grades have sold for hundreds of dollars and, in some cases, even more depending on demand, eye appeal, and auction competition. If a coin also features a dramatic and verified mint error, values can climb significantly higher because every error is different. The most spectacular authenticated errors may command thousands of dollars when collectors compete for them. That's why experienced collectors never judge a coin by the date alone. They inspect every detail. They compare it carefully. They verify everything before making assumptions. Here's a fun challenge. Pause for just a few minutes after this video. Grab every 1989 penny you can find. Check whether there's no mint mark beneath the date. Look for sharp details. Look for unusual doubling. Look for off-center strikes. Look for cracks, missing design elements, or anything that seems different from an ordinary penny. You might discover nothing unusual, or you might find the coin everyone else overlooked. History has shown that remarkable collectibles often hide in the most ordinary places. A forgotten piggy bank, an inherited coin jar, a drawer that hasn't been opened in years, even the cup holder in a family car. That's exactly what makes coin collecting so exciting. Every handful of change carries a little mystery. Every coin tells a story, and every search offers the possibility of an unexpected surprise. So the next time someone tells you a penny isn't worth picking up, remember this. Most pennies truly are worth only 1 cent. But every collector knows the next incredible discovery always starts with someone willing to take a closer look. Now I'm curious. Have you ever found an unusual Lincoln penny? Or do you have a jar of old coins waiting to be searched? Let everyone know, because your story might inspire someone else to check their own pocket change today. And if you enjoy uncovering hidden treasures hiding in everyday coins, make sure you subscribe and come back for more fascinating coin discoveries, valuable collecting tips, and the next rare piece of pocket change that could surprise you. Until next time, keep looking closely, because you never know what treasure might already be in your hands. Now here's where things become fascinating. Some collectors spend hours searching rolls of pennies from banks looking for coins that escaped heavy circulation. It sounds unbelievable, but people have discovered valuable coins in ordinary rolls purchased for only a few dollars. So what kinds of mistakes make collectors excited? One possibility is a dramatic off-center strike. During production, if the blank planchet isn't perfectly aligned when struck, part of the design can be missing. Depending on how dramatic the error is, these coins can become highly desirable. Another possibility is a broad strike error, where the coin expands beyond its normal shape because the retaining collar fails during striking. These unusual pieces immediately stand out because they don't look like ordinary pennies. Then there are die cracks and die breaks. As mint equipment wears over time, cracks can develop in the dies used to strike coins. Those cracks transfer onto the finished coin, creating raised lines or unusual features that collectors love to study. Here's another surprising fact. Some double die varieties show extra thickness or doubling in letters, numbers, or design elements. Not every form of doubling is valuable, but genuine double dies authenticated by experts can command impressive prices. And here's the mistake that catches many beginners. They confuse machine doubling with a true double die. Machine doubling is common and usually adds little value. True double dies are created differently during the manufacturing process and are much scarcer. This is exactly why careful examination matters. Grab a magnifying glass or coin loop and slowly inspect the date, the word Liberty, Indiana God We Trust, and the mint mark. Tiny details invisible to the naked eye can completely change how collectors view a coin. But there's another factor that often matters even more than an error: condition. Professional grading services use a detailed scale to evaluate coins. A circulated 1990D penny might still be worth only 1 cent. An uncirculated example with strong original surfaces could bring a premium. A nearly flawless coin receiving an elite mint state grade can become surprisingly valuable because so few survive in that condition. Think about it this way. Millions of people spent these pennies without protecting them. Every trip through a cash register created another scratch. Every year in circulation reduced the number of pristine survivors. That's why top-grade examples become increasingly difficult to find. Now let's talk about value. You've probably seen sensational headlines claiming a 1990D Lincoln penny is worth millions of dollars. Those headlines often leave out one very important detail. Extraordinary prices are associated with exceptionally rare coins, major mint errors, unique varieties, or historically significant auction pieces, not ordinary circulated examples. However, authenticated high-grade examples and dramatic mint errors have sold for hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on their rarity, eye appeal, and collector demand. That's why experienced collectors never judge a coin by its face value alone. Imagine discovering a rare error while sorting through the change in your kitchen drawer. That possibility keeps thousands of collectors searching every single day. Here's another tip many people overlook. Never clean your coins. It sounds like common sense to polish an old penny until it shines. Unfortunately, cleaning almost always damages the original surfaces and can significantly reduce collector value. Professional buyers generally prefer natural coins, even if they're toned or slightly dirty. Instead, hold the coin carefully by its edges and store it in a protective holder if you believe you've found something unusual. Now here's something exciting. Some valuable discoveries don't happen because someone bought an expensive collection. They happen because someone simply paid attention. A forgotten coffee can in the garage, Grandpa's old coin album, a roll from the local bank. Hidden treasures sometimes appear in the most ordinary places. That's part of what makes coin collecting so addictive. Every penny tells a story. Every date has a history. Every small detail could separate an everyday coin from something collectors have been searching for. Take another close look at your 1990D Lincoln penny. Does it have unusually sharp details? Does anything look doubled? Is the strike off-center? Do you notice strange cracks or missing design elements? Is the surface unusually well preserved? If the answer to any of those questions is yes, it might be worth having the coin examined by a reputable professional grading service. Authentication can make all the difference when determining whether you've found something truly special. Here's a surprising reality. Most valuable coins aren't discovered by experts. They're discovered by ordinary people who decided to look before spending their change. That's why stories of remarkable coin discoveries continue year after year. Someone notices an unusual detail. They ask questions. They seek expert opinions. Suddenly, what looked like a simple penny becomes the highlight of an entire collection. Could that happen to you? Absolutely. Will every 1990D Lincoln penny make you wealthy? No. But if you never check, you'll never know whether you're holding an ordinary cent or an extraordinary rarity. The next time you receive change at a grocery store, a gas station, or your favorite restaurant, don't ignore those pennies. Spend just a few seconds looking at the date and mint mark. That simple habit has started countless collecting journeys and occasionally led to remarkable discoveries. And remember, patience is one of the greatest tools any collector has. Valuable coins aren't always found in one day. Sometimes they're discovered after months or even years of careful searching. But every search teaches you something new, and every coin brings another chance to uncover hidden history. So now I want to hear from you. Have you ever found a strange-looking penny in your pocket change? Or do you already own a 1990D Lincoln penny? Take a close look before you spend it because the smallest details can make the biggest difference. If you enjoy uncovering hidden treasures hiding in everyday pocket change, make sure you stick around. There are still countless American coins with incredible stories, fascinating errors, and surprising values waiting to be discovered. Your next rare coin could already be sitting in your wallet, your coin jar, or even between the cushions of your couch. Keep searching, keep learning, and never underestimate the value hidden inside an ordinary-looking penny. Have you ever tossed a 1998 Lincoln penny into a jar without looking twice? Stop right there, because one tiny detail on that ordinary-looking coin could turn pocket change into one of the most exciting discoveries a collector can make. And before you assume every 1998 penny is valuable, wait until you see the hidden clues that separate a 1-cent coin from one worth serious money. Most people think only old pennies from the early 1900s can be worth a fortune. That's exactly why valuable modern coins often slip through people's fingers every single day. The 1998 Lincoln penny is one of those surprising coins that has sparked huge interest among collectors, especially when rare varieties or exceptional condition are involved. Today, we're uncovering what makes this coin special, what mistakes people make when checking it, and why a few examples have shocked the coin collecting world. Here's the first surprise. If your 1998 Lincoln penny has no mint mark, that doesn't automatically make it rare. In fact, pennies struck in Philadelphia during 1998 normally have no mint mark at all. Millions were produced that way, but this is where the story gets interesting. Among those millions are a handful of coins with characteristics that collectors desperately search for. Imagine dumping out a jar of old pennies onto your kitchen table. They all look almost identical. Most people would separate the shiny ones from the dirty ones and move on. But an experienced collector looks much closer. Tiny differences, almost invisible at first glance, can completely change a coin's value. One of the biggest reasons collectors pay attention to 1998 Philadelphia pennies is because of the famous wide AM variety. At first glance, the back of the coin appears completely normal. But if you look closely at the word America, you'll notice something unusual on the rare variety. The letters A and M are farther apart than they should be. That tiny design difference has made this one of the most talked about Lincoln cent varieties from the late 1990s. Now here's where many people get confused. Not every 1998 penny with no mint mark has the wide AM. Most have the normal close AM design. That's why checking carefully matters. A simple magnifying glass can reveal details that make all the difference. Think about how incredible that is. Two pennies made in the same year can look almost identical, yet one may only be worth 1 cent, while another catches the attention of serious collectors willing to pay hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on condition. And that's only the beginning. Condition is everything in coin collecting. A heavily worn coin that spent years bouncing around in pockets usually won't bring premium prices. But a coin that somehow escaped circulation and still shows bright original luster can be worth dramatically more. Picture someone receiving a roll of fresh pennies from a bank in 1998. Maybe they tucked it into a drawer and forgot about it for decades. Today, those untouched coins can attract collectors because pristine examples become harder to find every year. Here's something even more fascinating. Professional grading services examine coins under strict standards. A tiny scratch, a weak strike, or a fingerprint can lower a grade. On the other hand, a nearly flawless example can earn an elite grade that sends its value soaring. This is why experienced collectors never clean their coins. It seems like common sense to polish away dirt, right? Actually, cleaning often damages the original surface, leaving tiny hairline scratches that experts spot immediately. A cleaned coin can lose a significant portion of its collector value. So if you find a promising 1998 penny, resist the urge to make it shiny. Now let's talk about errors, because this is where excitement really builds. Coins are manufactured at incredible speeds, and occasionally something goes wrong. Maybe the coin is struck slightly off-center. Maybe the die develops cracks. Perhaps there's a doubled design or another unusual production mistake. These mint errors are often far scarcer than normal coins, making them especially attractive to collectors. Imagine discovering that a tiny manufacturing mistake, something never meant to happen, transformed an ordinary penny into a collectible treasure. That's why collectors inspect every detail. They examine Lincoln's portrait, the date, the lettering, the rim, and the reverse design. Sometimes the smallest difference creates the biggest opportunity. Here's another detail many people overlook. The color of a copper-plated zinc Lincoln cent also affects value. Coins are generally classified as brown, red-brown, or red. A brilliant original red coin with virtually no wear is much more desirable than one that's dark from years of circulation. And believe it or not, preserving that original color for decades is much harder than most people realize. Now you're probably wondering the question everyone asks. How much is a 1998 Lincoln penny with no mint mark actually worth? Let's build up to that answer. An average circulated example is generally worth only face value. That's right. Most 1998 Philadelphia pennies remain common coins found in circulation today. But don't click away yet. The story changes dramatically when we're talking about rare varieties, significant mint errors, or exceptionally high-grade certified examples. Collectors have paid hundreds of dollars for authenticated wide AM varieties in attractive condition. Better preserved pieces have sold for even more. And when an extraordinary coin combines a rare variety with a top professional grade, auction prices can climb into the thousands of dollars. This is exactly why collectors keep searching. Now let's address one of the biggest myths on the internet. You may have seen videos or social media posts claiming every 1998 no mint mark penny is worth hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars. Those headlines get attention, but they leave out an important fact. Extraordinary prices are associated only with extremely rare, authenticated examples possessing exceptional characteristics, and not with ordinary 1998 pennies found in everyday change. That's why knowledge is far more valuable than hype. The real opportunity isn't believing every coin is worth a fortune. It's learning how to recognize the small percentage that truly stand apart. Imagine finding an old coin collection inherited from a relative. Inside are dozens of Lincoln pennies from different years. Instead of rushing to spend them, you carefully inspect each one. One after another, they seem ordinary. Then suddenly you notice something different on the reverse of a 1998 penny. Could it be the wide AM? That single moment of discovery is what keeps collectors searching year after year. Even if your coin isn't valuable, you've gained experience that helps you identify future treasures. Here's another mistake people make. They assume older always means more valuable. In reality, rarity, demand, condition, and unique varieties often matter much more than age. Some modern coins have surprised the hobby by becoming highly collectible because relatively few examples survived in top condition. That's why smart collectors never ignore newer dates. Every coin tells a story. The 1998 Lincoln penny represents a period when billions of cents circulated through American businesses, schools, restaurants, and families. Most completed that journey unnoticed, but a tiny number escaped with unusual features that transformed them into collector favorites. Think about all the places a single penny travels. It passes through cash registers, piggy banks, vending machines, jars, and pockets before someone finally takes a closer look. Maybe that someone is you. Before you check your change, remember these important clues. Look for the missing mint mark, which is normal for Philadelphia coins. Then carefully inspect the reverse for the wide AM variety. Check for unusual mint errors. Look at the overall condition, especially if the coin still has bright original surfaces. And if you believe you've found something truly unusual, consider having it authenticated by a respected professional grading service before assuming it's extremely valuable. That one step can make all the difference between a guess and a verified collectible. So here's my question for you. When was the last time you actually examined the pennies sitting in your home? In a coin jar, an old wallet, a dresser drawer, or even your car's cup holder? There could be coins you've ignored for years. While most will simply be worth 1 cent, all it takes is one genuine variety or error to make the search worthwhile. Collectors across America continue checking their change because they know remarkable discoveries still happen. The next penny you pick up could teach you something fascinating about American coinage. Could become the beginning of a new hobby. And if luck is on your side, it might even be the coin that every collector hopes to find. So before you spend another penny, take a closer look. You never know what tiny detail could completely change the story. If you enjoy uncovering hidden treasures hiding in everyday pocket change, be sure to subscribe and join us for more amazing coin discoveries, because the next rare coin we reveal might already be waiting in your collection.